You know that the common parlance is that they're the British Oscars. That's how people refer to them. I mean, I'm a member of Bafta, so I'm one of the people that votes in the Baftas. They are essentially our film awards. They relate to films that have opened in the UK or will open up until I think it's March the 1st is a cut-off period. Essentially, the movies in contention tend to be the same movies that are up for the Golden Globes and up for the Oscars, but they do have a more British slant than the American awards, which is not surprising. There's been a lot of news today about the fact that the pack leader is King's Speech, which has got the most nominations.
14.
It has. But whether or not that means it's going to sweep the board, I think is a different case.
But what I don't understand is you call it a British slant. So there are more British nominees and British films nominated here than in any other film award.
Not always.
Not always. There are this year, it would appear. Well, is there a British quota? Do they have to nominate a number of British films?
No, absolutely not. It's just to do with the fact that BAFTA members are essentially British. I mean, there is the American chapter, but no, it is voted for by the British members of BAFTA. I mean, I think...
Does that, if you're British, you vote for British films over and above American films?
No, it means that... Well, in my case, it means that you maybe have a different sensibility. I mean, for example, the Americans, who are responsible for the Golden Globes of the Hollywood Foreign Press Association, nominated in their Best Music and Comedy category movies such as Burlesque, which was not Best of anything, The Tourist, which was neither a musical nor a comedy.
As pointed out by Ricky Gervais, that it was...
yes, I think said everything was three-dimensional last year, except for the characterisations in Tourist. Thank you, don't forget to tip your waitress. I'm here all week. I'm sorry, I thought they got what was coming to them.
Did you think he was good?
I think if you come up with that list of nominations and you ask Ricky Gervais to introduce them, you get what you paid for. Yeah. I mean, what are they going to do? That's what he does. I mean, what are they all being so sensitive about? Heaven's sake.
I thought Robert Downey Jr. was a little bit of a baby, actually, when he went on
think
stage.
Taking offence to that sort of thing is just nonsense. I think it is really nonsense.
So, when you're a judge, okay?
I'm not a judge. No, I'm just
you
a
have
member,
a vote.
So I vote.
You
I
have a vote.
Yes, I am, as you are in a democracy, able to vote.
Okay. You know that the B in BAFTA, in that acronym, stands for British.
Yes.
And you are British. And therefore, if it were possible to measure this, if you had a British and American film that were absolutely as good as each other, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that the people that have a vote within BAFTA would be more likely to vote with the British film because they're the British awards?
OK, well, let me answer that question with another question. Do you think Inception is a British or an American movie?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's not British money, is it? But it's a British director.
Exactly. Well, it's a British writer and director. I mean, it is interesting. Like, if you look at that best film list, OK, King's Speech... I mean, the Weinstein's name is on the King's Speech, and as you know, they've obviously done a lot of campaigning for it in America. Black Swan's American film. I think Natalie Portman's going to win Best Actress. Inception, I would argue, is a British sensibility movie because Christopher Nolan wrote and directed it, and he is one of ours. Social Network, obviously, an American movie. I mean, what I'm saying is it doesn't simply come down to King's Speech looks English, therefore is English. Inception looks American, therefore is Inception. I mean, I would think, funnily enough, the way that this will shake down is I think there's a good chance that King's Speech will win Best Film. I think there's a good chance that either Danny Boyle or Christopher Nolan or Tom Hooper will win Director. They all three happen to be British. I think Colin Firth will win Best Actor. Not only here, I mean, he won at the Globes. I think he's going to go on to win Best Actor at the Oscars. I mean, he didn't win last year because it was kind of Jeff Bridges' turn. I think it's kind of his turn now. I think Natalie Portman will win Best Actress and she will then go on to do it. So I think there's going to be a strong British showing, but it's not to do with spinning it towards the Brits.
Okay. Well, setting that, but there's a certain prejudice that comes with it. Clearly, you pointed out in the American Golden Globes there was an American prejudice, and I'm just saying.
No, in the American Golden Globes they were just stupid. Let's say it's nothing to do with being prejudiced. I mean, so for example, over here the BAFTAs have given Made in Dagenham 4 nominations, not because it's British, but because it's good. Over at the Golden Globes, they nominated films like Burlesque, not because they're American, but because they're stupid. I mean, I'm sorry, it's that simple.
Setting aside the prejudice or otherwise of the electorate, this has clearly been a good year for British talent.
Yes. It has, and I mean, as I was hoping to say before. I mean, I think that's the point. When you look at, Inception is loaded with British talent. The Rising Star Award, 4 out of 5 of the nominees are British. If you look at what's going to win on the night, I suspect it's going to be the headlines in the morning are big British wins at the BAFTAs. But of course, it is a no-win situation because what happens is big British wins. Oh, it's because they're British. If you don't get big British wins, how come there aren't Brits winning at the BAFTAs? So that's just the way. But it just happens this year. I mean, actually, for me, the most significant thing is, of my 5 favourite films of the year, 4 of them have been significantly nominated at the BAFTAs. Inception, which is up for Best Film and a number of awards. Of Gods and Men is up for Best Foreign Language Film. We knew that last week.
Yeah.
Toy Story 3 is nominated for Best Animation. I'm sad that Chico and Rita isn't up there with it, because I loved Chico and Rita, but Toy Story 3, you know, it obviously is going to win. And Made in Dagenham got 4 nominations. It was completely overlooked in America.
There's a lot of award shows, Mark, aren't there? If you work in film, I'm not saying it's easy to win an award, but there's a lot of them floating around. So if you're a builder, if you're a nurse, if you drive a taxi, okay, there aren't tens of prestigious award shows that you could be recognised by.
Or indeed any, is what you're saying.
Any.
Yes.
On the day of the Golden Globe, the day before the Golden Globes, there was another big film award show. Was it the Writers' Critics Guild or something? There's just so many. Do we need the BAFTAs? Why don't we just got rid of them?
Well, there isn't a huge plethora of British awards ceremonies.
You've just said they're not British awards.
No, they are British awards. The BAFTAs are British awards. What I'm saying is that doesn't...
You're saying there's no bias towards British talent.
No, hang on.
Clear.
Which question am I answering here, Richard? They are British awards, but they are not necessarily for British film. Well, demonstrably so if you look at the best film list. And in terms of answering the other question, look, all award ceremonies are essentially the industry slapping itself on the back. That's how award ceremonies work. I mean, you know, BAFTAs, Oscars doesn't make any difference. That is what they do. I mean, but you could quite legitimately say all award ceremonies aren't worth anything. But the fact of the matter is, from where I'm standing, if Made in Dagenham gets 4 nominations and that makes one more person go and see it, then that's fine in my book.
There was either this year or last year when he hosted the Golden Globes, Ricky Gervais said something like, "We all know that actors are the most important people in the world." Now, I worry that joke may not have gone down well because they didn't see the irony, and that a lot of actors think what they do is really important, whereas, of course, it isn't. It's dress up and make-believe. And with all these award shows, Mark, we're feeding their sense of themselves, which isn't very healthy.
Well, you're assuming, firstly, that award shows are primarily about actors, and there is an awful lot of that in it. There is an awful lot of, oh, it's been fabulous, I've done really well, thank you, and I'd like to thank me. That is definitely true. But it's, A, it's show business. B, yes, essentially all award shows are ephemeral and are to do with, congratulating yourselves and wearing nice frocks. But I think there are award ceremonies that are better than others. And I do think, for example, that looking at this list, that there are the films that I like, or that I think are really worth celebrating. Yeah. What I really want to see is this. I want to see Christopher Nolan winning the award for Best Director. As far as I'm concerned, Inception is really important. People keep saying, it's not as great as you say it. Yes, it is. Inception is... I'm sorry, yes, it is. And there's a simple reason why it is. Inception is the film which proved this year that you do not have to be stupid to make a great big blockbuster. It is a film which treats its audience as if they are intelligent. It is a film which is in 2D, not 3D, because Christopher Nolan doesn't believe that 3D is necessarily the future of all cinema, and that for me is worth celebrating.
All right, I'm not having another 3D debate with you, but
no, because you lost the last one, and you don't want to
get... I did not lose the last one.
You don't want to get your butt kicked again. Of course you did.
Look at Alice in Wonderland.
Do you know what the most?
Shall I tell you how many nominations that's got?
Yeah, go on.
5.
Do you know?
Do you know what D it's in? 3.
Do you know what the most financially successful 3D movie of all time, in terms of the relationship between the amount of money it cost and the amount of money it took, is?
Jaws 3D.
Not even close. It's a 1970 movie called The Stewardesses, the tagline for which was, "These lusty lovelies leap off the screen and into your lap." And if that doesn't tell you what you need to know about 3D, then nothing will.
No, we're not having a 3D conversation, other than say, I know that a lot of people, a lot of kids went to see Alice in Wonderland, not because they're fans of Lewis Carroll, because they don't know Lewis Carroll, his work's too old. It's because it's in 3D and they found that exciting.
Yeah, a lot of kids went to see it in 2D. It was better, it was brighter, it was clearer, the resolution was better, the colour saturation was better, they didn't get headache, and it was made in 2D anyway, and it was retrofitted into 3D. Your ball.
I'm dropping the 3D ball.
Okay, fine.
Although if you'd thrown me a ball in 3D with glasses on, that would have been quite exciting.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't, though. It would have been a gimmick that would have worked for about 5 seconds, and then you would have got bored with it, because that's how it works. Hey, listen, if you're in the 3D camp, I give you, coming up in the next year or so, Pirates of the Caribbean Part 4 in 3D, and Transformers 3D.
Yeah, I don't like those franchises anyway. So.
Oh, you should like them more in 3D.
It's a good question. Will I like them more or dislike them more when they're in 3D?
Yeah, they'll be rubbish in 2D and in 3D.
Did you like any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies?
No.
Nor did I.
No.
What was all that about? Why did everyone tell me the first one was good?
They lied.
Yeah.
It's like Verucas. They're not good. It's simple as that. If people tell you they're good, they're lying.
Mark, do you think, by and large, within the film world and the acting world, people take
I love the way
themselves-
you're distinguishing between the film world and the acting world.
Yeah.
The actors are part of the film world.
Well, let's talk about actors. Do you think quite a lot of them, certainly not all of them, but quite a lot of them, do take this profession too seriously?
Have you had a run-in with an actor recently?
No.
Has an actor broken your heart? Has an actor been rude to you in the street? Has somebody tweeted you a rude message from that? What is it? What? Come on,
I
say
get tweeted lots of rude messages
No, sure,
by
yes.
larger actors. I think last year I sat through the whole of the Oscars ceremony, and
That was brave.
yeah, I mean, they are boring.
That went on for 4 days last year, didn't it?
Didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they were carrying people out on stretchers.
Yeah. And it's that sense of self-importance that comes with these award shows. Now, maybe it's unfair to single out actors, but it's sometimes the things actors say at these ceremonies that gives me that impression.
Did you see
But
Colin Firth's acceptance speech at the Golden Globes?
I saw a clip of it on the news.
He was self-deprecatory and funny.
Right.
Fine, great.
He's great.
He is great. He's a really good actor. Let him win another award so he can do that again.
And then I see Robert Downey Jr. at the Golden Globes, and I think, oh, come on.
I know, but then...
It's all fun. You've got a lovely job. And what you do is entertain people.
Yep.
But you're not curing cancer. It's a laugh. It's all just a laugh.
Well, there are those who know how to do it properly and those who don't. I mean, I remember Mickey Rourke getting up on stage when he won his award and effing and blinding and being inappropriate in a way that was very entertaining. I still remember Cuba Gooding winning the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor and leaping around the stage. You remember Roberto Benigni winning
Yes,
and
very,
throwing
very
himself
well.
into the audience, declaring that he wanted to make love to everyone in the crowd. That's how to win an award.
I saw 127 Hours at the weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was excellent. And Danny Boyle is nominated, isn't he?
He's nominated for Best Director. It's also nominated for Outstanding British Film. And I do think that James Franco is the one serious bit of competition for Colin Firth in the acting category. Perhaps not at the BAFTAs, but I do think at the Oscars it's possible that James Franco might have the edge.
Good film, 127 Hours?
Yeah, I thought 127.
I think we've gone a bit American.
127 is what it is. Yes, you're in England now. I think it is a good film. I mean, it's grueling. I certainly... Did you wince and look away from the screen and find it really hard to watch the bit when he was actually...
It's his tendon. It's when he snaps his tendon.
Yeah, it's yes, that moment is really wincing.
I worried for that film because I said on Twitter how much I liked it, and most people who got back to me said, "Oh, but it's got that horrible scene. I'm not going to go and watch it." And I think it's a shame for the film that it's seen as a bit of a novelty. It only seems to be known for those that haven't seen it. It seems to be known solely for the fact that a guy cuts his arm off. Mm-hmm. And
it is quite central to the story.
It is central to the story, but there's so much more to it than that, and it's so imaginatively made. It's very well directed and terrific soundtrack, and there are many more elements to it. Is all I'm saying.
No, that's absolutely right, and it's certainly true that Danny Boyle gets as much camera mileage out of somebody being stuck down a crevice as it's possible to get. I mean, I think that what's interesting about that story is whether it is simply about a man being brought to a point when he does something superhuman. I've met Aaron Ralston, I mean, he really, I'm just still staggered that anyone could have done what he did, or whether it's about something more transformative, whether it's about somebody actually going through a life-changing experience, discovering, as Danny Boyle says, that there are other people in the world that are crucially important to him.
When James Franco plays Aaron, he makes a video diary of himself.
Yes, which happened in real life.
Oh, it did happen. So is that available, that footage?
Well, it's not available to you and me, but it is available to the family. The family have seen it. Yes, I mean, it was the decision, as Danny Boyle reported it to me, was that was private footage, but it does exist, and it was not for public consumption. But it is true that he did indeed make a video diary of himself stuck in that position, and that footage has indeed been seen by his nearest and dearest.
That's interesting. Because also it's important for the narrative. It would have been quite difficult to make the film if he hadn't done that. Otherwise it would have just been a man silently
No, exactly.
trapped in a cave,
well, funnily enough, the comparison there is to do with Buried, in which you've got a guy trapped in a coffin, but you have to keep him talking, so therefore you give him a mobile phone. I mean, also from a filmmaker's point of view, what an interesting story that actually a guy trapped in that position really did reach for his video camera and use the video camera almost as a confessional booth to talk to everyone else through this. I mean, there is something very cinematic about that.
127 Hours is one of those films where I pretended to be more interested in the credits than I actually was, so as to buy myself some time to compose myself. So it's quite... I got caught up in it. It's a great ending, isn't it? And I just found it quite emotional.
No, it's a very powerful film, and it's very well directed. And as I said, I think that Danny Boyle's got a strong chance in the director category, but he's up against, Christopher Nolan. So, and then, if also, it is worth mentioning, I know he's coming on the programme a bit, outstanding debut by British writer, director or producer. You've got in that category Gareth Edwards for Monsters. And, there is somebody who really did do something extraordinary with that film, who was a special effects guy who went out and directed a movie that looks like an indie road movie, but just happened to have great big space aliens in the back of it. And I know that some people were confused by the film, but I thought it was a remarkable achievement, and it's very good to see that nominated here. And to get back to your other question about what are awards ceremonies for, if they are to recognise that kind of achievement alongside, the makers, Exit Through the Gift Shop, Four Lions is in there, Skeletons, Nick Whitfield is in there for Skeletons, which is a film I like very much. If those kind of films get recognised at these ceremonies, then more power to them.
I'm pleased that Four Lions is in there. It's actually been a really good year for film, hasn't it? I liked Four Lions.
Yeah, you started this interview giving me a hard time about what are these awards ceremonies all about, and now you're actually reading the awards. You realise, it's not a bad year, that actually.
That's the answer.
That's
the BAFTAs... The Golden Globes would not honour Four Lions, a Chris Morris film. No. Exit Through the Gift Shop wasn't in there, I don't think, was it? Which is the Banksy film.
No.
So I suppose it is...
different and better.
To celebrate some...
Yes.
There's a specifically British category in Outstanding British Film.
Yes, there is. And then there's Outstanding, debut by a British writer-director. And also, I do think in that Best Film category, that's a good list. Black Swan, Inception, King's Speech, Social Network, and True Grit. I mean, I think that is an interesting list. And as I said, 4 out of 5 of my favourite films of the year have been nominated. The problem... I wish Chico and Rita had been nominated, but great to see Made in Dagenham getting 4.
Excellent. Mark, thank you.
Thank you. And just the 3D thing is just grow up and get over it.
I'll grow up if you shut up.
Okay, no, seriously, I'll make you a deal. I'll never say it again if you never see it again. The future is bright.
Can I watch 3D TV?
No!
You've not seen golf in 3D?
No, you know what? I've been on a golf course.
Yeah. I don't actually... I'm not bothered about watching golf on telly, but in 3D, it is really impressive.
Oh, look! The ball's rolling toward me. Ooh!
No,
Mark, such a child.
It's not...
Not narrative.
I've got no more to say on 3D.
Good.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.